Hello, welcome to our Pain-Free Living Summit, where you will learn how to end pain and discover the right treatment for you. I'm your host, Renee Harrison. I'm an integrative nutrition health coach, healer, a wellness facilitator, a writer, and a speaker. I've gathered together many of my own personal coaches, mentors, and influencers right here on this online event. Each of these experts will share with you what they have taught me, that you can live a pain-free life. It is my mission to connect you with as many mentors and healers as I can here. And with me today is Judy Hahn. Judy Hahn is a certified health coach who is passionate about using a functional medicine perspective to help women with health struggles and by focusing on the root cause of your disease and addressing it naturally, to return to the vibrant, healthy, natural self. I would like to welcome Judy Hahn, and I would like to ask you, Judy, how is it that you got into what you do?
Well, thank you, Renee. I have quite a varied past, and in that past, I actually, along with a full-time job, sold pharmaceutical-grade nutritional products, personal care products, and functional food. And although I was really quite focused on the humanities side of the world, it struck something inside of me that said, oh my God, the body is just this amazing thing. And so it really started me on a path that I still continue today.
Mm-hmm. I read somewhere that you had overheard some conversation. Women everywhere were talking about certain subjects, and that also got you thinking about the career choice that you made.
Yeah, I had actually been downsized by a company, and I was really wanting to do something that was much more purposeful. At 63, I wasn't exactly sure, what the rest of my life would look like, but I knew that it had to be something that I was passionate about and that was directed at helping other people. That helping other people had always been part of my life anyway. Mm-hmm. So when I heard these women, and it didn't matter, I was at the gym, I was in a grocery store, I heard people, women in particular, talking about fatigue and digestive issues, and they had brain fog and all different kinds of autoimmune diseases and a variety of other things. And I thought, you know what? I really want to start looking at something else. And so I actually became a certified holistic health and lifestyle coach after studying for a year at a school. But at the end of that, I felt that I was still lacking in some of the things that I needed to work with my clients on, which were things like limiting beliefs and self-sabotage, core issues, the story that they were telling themselves that allowed them to continue with whatever that life was that wasn't quite what they wanted. And so I started doing my practice more with those things in mind. And it was really quite amazing because a lot of that was things, of course, that I could relate to in my own life and help myself change at the same time. Mm-hmm. But again, I've always been that person out there wanting to help others and felt that I still was short. Because let's say somebody wanted to lose weight, we dealt with the self-sabotage, we looked at nutrient-dense food and snacking and sugar cravings and all those things and what was behind it. And even if they were compliant, I kind of was at a dead end if they weren't able to achieve their complete and total goal. Mm-hmm. And that's when I started researching functional medicine health coaching.
Oh, can you tell us more about that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You're going to have to ask me to stop because that's how much I love it. It really is about looking at the root cause, the underlying issues for things. One of the things I heard those women talking about was acid reflux, and they had gone to the doctor and they got some medication. And so I started learning about it because I wanted to learn about the things that I was hearing about, and found out that what they were doing, what they were given by their doctors, was reducing their stomach acid because they were being told they had too much, when in fact it was not a true statement. And that by taking those medications, although they were addressing the symptoms, they were not addressing the true root cause of that acid reflux, which was acid being in the wrong place, not that they had too much of it. It would bubble up into their esophagus. And so I really went out there and said, okay, what's the root cause? What can I do for them? What can I help them address? And it's all in the gut. Everything that we look at that is disease and conditions really has some sort of core issue that has begun in the gut. And that's scary because people are putting Band-Aids on their issues instead of saying, okay, let's find out what's really wrong and reduce it or resolve it so we don't have new issues going forward from medications and things.
And I love how you use the word Band-Aid, because that's exactly how I describe it as well to clients. It is not going deep enough in finding that root cause. And wouldn't you say that modern day, the way that we eat and our environment and so on, our modern day bodies are subjected to so much more than our ancestors, our predecessors? Can you talk a little bit about that, what you're finding in your practice?
Sure. Well, I'd like to bring up stress in particular, because I think that we have emotional and physical stresses that have gotten worse. I was joking about an article I saw, the cover of Time magazine, I think it was 1983, that said the epidemic of the 80s was stress. And if you can imagine, that was the 80s, and here we are in 2018. So what's happening over time is, besides our food becoming much less nutrient dense, our lives have become filled with chronic stress. So, I mean, a little bit of stress, you know, you're getting in an accident, that's stress, that's healthy stress. Your body needs that. But as evolved as we've gotten, we really, as far as stress goes, have not changed from the caveman, because the human body and mind can't distinguish between the bear that's chasing after you and what's work-related stress. So we end up all day, every day with family stress. We're busy taking care of other people, not taking care of ourselves. We're trying to be the best employee, you know, the workaholic. I'll just put in more hours. But it's affecting our sleep. It's affecting our, and affecting our sleep is huge, but it's affecting every part of our life, because when you have stress, the body reacts just like it would if a bear were chasing after you. So your heart rate and blood pressure are going to be increased to help you make better decisions. Your blood sugar rises because you need energy, right? It's fight or flight. You got to get out of there. But there's no bear. It may just be your boss. Who knows? Or your kid's teacher that's causing some problems for you. Digestion. Anything that's not pertinent to your being able to flee is reduced or shut off completely. So think about it. We are eating at our desks. We're eating in our cars. We're eating like because we're late for an appointment. So that stress is actually shutting off our digestion. And we are having undigested food now sitting in our gut for who knows how long, because now that stress has become chronic, it takes our bodies a lot longer to recoup from it. And because of it, we may find that we have IBS, or we may have a lot of migraines, or we may have, it can affect, you have depression, you can have anxiety, heart attacks, stroke, hypertension. It affects your immune system. You have stress. You don't need your immune system to fight or flight, right? So what happens? It gets shut off, and chronically, we are not fighting those colds and flus that we should be able to fight fairly easily. I know myself and my husband, we, in those times of high stress, we are finding that we get a cold or the flu a little bit more often than we would like to be. The aging process is increased. It's faster. Skin conditions can be exacerbated or come to light after never having been a problem before. And it's all stress related.
You were mentioning about digestion, and so I just want to sit for a minute on digestion and the stomach, for example.
Sure.
Because there's so much information out there right now about immunity and where that comes from. Can you talk to us a bit about that?
Yeah, not only the immunity, but that's a great thing to bring up. I think that one of the huge things that I'm very proud that I'm able to do for my clients is education. And I always love to see people's face when they find out that 2/3 of their immune system is actually in their gut. So if they're not taking care of their gut, well, there's another reason for their illness. Or that 95% of serotonin, which is what we take antidepressants for, is actually made in the gut. And so if we are not respectful of our gut and starting to be in tune with, I don't quite feel right. And, so that it's a dis-ease as opposed to waiting for something to be a disease, right? You wait so long that now you have diabetes or you have hypertension or whatever it happens to be, and start feeling into what's actually going on so you can address those core issues, the core reasons, the root causes, and reduce or get rid of them so that it's not what medication I have to take on top of what medication I have to take.
Yeah, the Band-Aid fix of the medication. Yeah, because it's not actually addressing the issue. It's not actually changing the issue. The issue will still be there when you stop the medication. But
well, you mentioned digestion in particular, and that's a great example. I know that acid reflux is uncomfortable. Okay? Because what's happening is that acid that you have in your stomach is bubbling up into your esophagus. And so the doctor wants to help you get rid of that pain and gives you something like, Prilosec or Nexium or whatever those things are, or you take Tums or Rolaids or whatever to reduce the stomach acid. And unfortunately, that puts a Band-Aid on your pain, so it gives you some relief, but it causes your food to now sit in your stomach because you really did need the acid at the full strength to truly digest, and not only digest, but it's part of your immune system. That acid helps keep the nasty microbes from hanging out or moving through the system and causing more problems. So I can't state enough how important it is to address the root cause and not just take a medication like that, which may cause other problems downstream.
Oh, definitely. In my own life, I found that to be true. When my oldest twin, the middle son, he was 6 months old, we had to take him to Children's Hospital. They thought that one pediatrician thought that he had petit mal syndrome.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, seizures, a seizure
Yeah.
condition. So they did a 24-hour watch on him because he was, doing eye rolling episodes into the back of his head, and it was really alarming. I actually recorded it so that we could catch those episodes, right, and show it to the doctor, and rushed him down to a big children's hospital. And 6 days they tested and found out that it was actually acid reflux. It was a valve that was, not closing, right, when he would swallow food. And so things would start to come back up. But the burning pain of it at 6 months old, because he's so young, right,
Yeah.
was making him feel so uncomfortable. He was kind of thrashing back and trying to get comfortable in his body whenever I would feed him.
Wow.
And and so they gave him ranitidine.
Oh gosh.
And within a month, it calmed things down, yes, but it doesn't change the fact that there was a valve that had to, right itself, right? And it wasn't until that valve had actually gone back into place and stopped, flapping open, that he was able to settle down. So there's a prime example of.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and see what happens with adults is they probably have so much stuff going on in their stomach already, similar to what happened to your child, because now some of these microbes and bacteria give off gas, and that lever, the esophageal sphincter, gets popped open. And that's when the stomach acid goes up. And, he was fortunate that it healed itself. But yeah, he's fine and no problems anymore.
Yeah, he's 13 now, and I mean, he's still kind of a picky eater. I think there are times where food, probably his body tells him that that's not the right food for him. And so he has just gotten really good boundaries. So he'll say no when he really doesn't want to eat something, or he's had enough, or, but he listens. Like, I've taught all of my boys to listen to their bodies, which is.
They're very lucky. They're very lucky they have you.
Thank you.
Not something that we've been taught.
No.
We've been taught, well, our parents had a view of medicine which was very different than I hope most of us have today, because and that's just something to bring up. Whoever you are, whatever's going on, a doctor is in fact a service. And if your gut is telling you that you don't like that idea of medicine, or you know what, you don't feel that the doctor's philosophy is quite where you're at, you have the right to say, you know what, I'm gonna talk to another doctor. So don't. I just want people to remember that it is a service, and they need to find out what's best for their own health. And because there is a nerve that goes through the gut to the brain called the vagus nerve, we really do have gut instinct. That is really your body saying, you got something there. So start listening to it.
I like that. I'm going to use that. There was also something about the digestion there too. Oh, I was thinking about digestive enzymes too. I mean, that's something, as a health coach like yourself and studying nutrition for the last 17 years, it's really something I geek on. And so I was able to later on understand that, in the example back to my infant, he wouldn't have had digestive enzymes in place until about 18 months of age, like the certain ones that come on board at certain times, just like our brains producing chemicals at different times of our life. And so, you were talking about in the workplace and the boss and so on, right? And you're sitting there at your desk and you're I don't know, maybe just swallowing a sandwich in half an hour break with coffee and water on top of it. What does that look like, for dis-ease in your body where you're sitting with that undigested food sitting there, and then the boss walks up to you and says, you're late, you haven't gotten, your deadline done or whatever. Now what happens to your digestive system? It's set on a turn-off valve, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And you just brought up something that I didn't mention earlier, which is, I think we're probably one of the only countries that when you sit down in a restaurant, they give you a Mondo glass of water, and then you order something else to drink. And I think it's really important, since we're discussing digestion so much, I think it's really important for some of your attendees to understand that digestion begins in the mouth. There are enzymes there. And so chewing is imperative. I mean, really, really chew, because it's the only voluntary part of digestion. And then, because we're really not chewing well, we kind of wash it down with water. Right? So where you're talking about drinking, we're now reducing the efficacy of the enzymes that are in our mouth because we're drinking water with our food. And we're also diluting the stomach acid that is so important to have strong, because again, that's another way that we dilute it and the food doesn't digest. You sit there and you go, I don't know, I just kind of, I kind of feel like after this meal, it's just sitting here. Well, think about it next time you want to drink with your meal. Right. Do better and drink less. And I think you'll find that digestion all the way around will be better.
Oh, those are good tips. Thank you very much for that. So with our topic today being stress is an inside job, not just digestive that we're talking about. What are some other ways that stress comes into play in our life that you've found in your practice with people that you talk with?
Well, I think today so much stress is from family and from work. And why I said it's an inside job is because very often we internalize all of this, and then we spend our time on worry and anxiety. And when we aren't eating properly and our food isn't digesting properly, and the stress with the stress hormones, it's all creating situations that my clients are challenged with. So I find that along with all the functional health coaching, I spend time teaching people how to sit quietly, how to breathe, because we have a tendency to breathe very shallow, and we need to learn that breath is very cleansing, and it's a huge part of every process that goes on in the body. So I think, breathing, I think I teach meditation to my clients if they're interested. We talk a lot about self-care because, again, certain age, you're taking care of your kids, you're taking care of your aging parents. You don't have time to eat properly, eat slowly, chew your food, exercise, and all those other things. So I find that those things are huge with the clients that I have. And we look at it from a body, mind, and spirit point of view. Because I think, like I say, as a holistic practitioner, it is truly about the body as a whole. It is never, it's not your heart. It's not your kidneys. Everything affects everything else. It's all interconnected. And that's also why this newer field of functional medicine and functional medicine health coaching is so brilliant, because we really can put it all together, take all the little puzzle pieces of somebody's health and say, oh yeah, you have postnasal drip. Oh, no, that's not really it's not really seasonal allergies. It's an allergy to dairy food, lactose intolerant. Well, a regular doctor doesn't put those things together. And those are the kind of things as well that I find in my clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not being really taught, are they? The connection between the sinuses running and what's going on inside of our stomach, right?
No, I think, I am in no way, shape, or form bad-mouthing Western medicine.
Mm.
We need surgeons, we need certain people. There are times when, it's imperative that they're part of our wellness.
Mm-hmm.
But I say that with tongue in cheek because wellness is not their focus.
Mm.
They are focused on the disease once it's past a point.
Mm-hmm. Or the symptom.
Or the symptom. And so I think it's important to take a look at it all. Mm-hmm. And not just say, I'm going to go see the internist. Mm-hmm. Be open to the thought that what you have might not be physically next to where you're having the symptom. Mm-hmm. It may actually be from somewhere else in your body. And that's just how your body has chosen to express the issue.
Right. And I don't take it as you're bad-mouthing or telling anyone not to go to doctors. I, for my own training, like my own interest in nutrition for 17 years, I've just found that that's my passion. I've poured myself into my studies and made it my life's mission to really understand, the systems, right? All of them, and how they all function together and are all interconnected within us, instead of taking a magnifying glass and looking just at the eyeball or right, just at the heart.
Absolutely. That's correct.
But there are specialists for everything too. The iridologist for the eye, or the heart specialist for the heart, or the brain surgeon for the brain, and so on. And so it's taking us apart into little sections and compartmentalizing those issues. Whereas a functional medicine nutritionist like yourself, a health coach that has spent years and years studying nutrition, you have more knowledge base in nutrition and how all of that affects every part and every system. Whereas I understand from talking to doctors, they only get a few hours in their studies. I mean, they go to medical school maybe 7 years, 8 years of their entire career in educating themselves. But unless they have a passion for learning more, that's really, they don't get enough of what we're putting into our basket, basically.
Yep, I totally agree. I think the systems of the body need to be understood. Nutrition, nutrient-dense food. And one of the things that I love about being able to use functional medicine perspective with health coaching is to be able to really focus on specific nutrients or vitamins or trace minerals that someone might need to get different processes in the body moving and doing what they're supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. Because it can be as simple as one trace element that creates a problem so that you have now a thyroid problem because you're not converting the hormone into what it needs to be converted into. Mm-hmm. And the reason I bring that up in particular is I just had a nutrient test myself and found out that, in fact, that's true in me. Mm-hmm. That I have a selenium deficiency and that is now going to be addressed so that my thyroid can function more properly.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm having the same issues where I found iodine was too low, so my parathyroid was being affected, and also magnesium. My magnesium was way low, and so I was having a lot of aches and pains and muscle cramping and so on. And once I upped that, and the right kind, there's so many different kinds of magnesium, so magnesium citrate is what I ingest, and then in Epsom salts, which is
Right.
magnesium phosphate, right? And so once I added those two to my self-care kit, I've been feeling amazing. So,
Well, it's interesting that you say that because, in fact, it is well known in the functional medicine world that the majority of Americans are truly very, very deficient in magnesium.
mm-hmm.
That's one of the first things I work on with people
Is
is the
it wonderful?
magnesium. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I can't tell enough people about it. And as a matter of fact, I follow Dr. Caroline Dean with the
Mhm.
Magnesium Miracle, and I love her books. So I use that with my clients as well. So,
Great.
well, Judy, we are like just talking a blue streak. The time is like going, and I'm just enjoying this so much. But I do want to take some time to find out more about your free gift offer that you have for everyone. And also, where can people find you online? So take the floor and answer those two.
Thank you. You can find me. I have a business page right now on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Hahn Holistic Health. I will be creating a group, however, since Facebook has kind of moved away from business pages. So my suggestion would be to go to my website, which is www.hahnholistichealth.com, so that you can always be in touch with me. Feel free to contact me there. You can use @Judy which is JudyBrierHahn, and that is a way you can direct message me on Facebook as well. My free offer, I felt very strongly about stress. And so I put together an ebook. That ebook is about putting stress in its place. And it's 52 ways to reduce stress and increase your happiness. And so that is a link that I believe you will be putting on the website, and people can go and download that for themselves, and hopefully they will find some, 2 or 3 things that they can start practicing for themselves to find that they are doing a little better on self-care and reducing some of those stress hormones.
Wonderful. That sounds great, and I'm going to have to look it up myself. So thank you so much, Judy, and thank you for being on the Pain-Free Living Summit today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This has been great. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Myself as well. Take care.
Thanks.